Life in Korea is fast, busy, and expensive. Back then, spending $300 a day felt completely normal to us. But after coming here and living on just $30 a day, everything changed for us. In a previous Quit Korea video, we talked about how we left our high-paying jobs and stable lives in Korea to travel the world and find our true passion. So, where are we now? I am in Laos! From the moment we arrived, everything felt different. Luang Prabang is a UNESCO World Heritage City blending history, tradition, and beautiful nature. It's the second largest city in Laos. With only about 47,000 people, it's a pretty small town. Doesn't the city center feel so simple and humble? On our way to the hotel, we could really feel the charm of Laos through its unique architecture. After checking into our hotel, we dropped off our laundry at a nearby shop. It was so local, with the owner and her little puppies around. It was such a peaceful and heartwarming sight. My wife Jean, who's always been a city girl, loved it so much she wanted to capture the moment.
2 kilo? 오. 4만 킵.
20,000 kip per kilo. So since we have 2 kilo of laundry, so it's less than two bucks, right? $1.87.
Oh, receipt.
Even receiving a handwritten receipt felt special to us.
컵자이.
One reason we could live on $30 a day in Laos is the super affordable food. This place is supposed to have the best noodle soup in town, so I'm gonna give it a try and how good the soup is. Let's find out. This noodle dish is khao piak, one of Laos' traditional dishes, and it only costs 25,000 kip, or $1. Isn't that so cheap? But how does it taste? Wow. It's amazing. The broth is rich and flavorful. In the evening, we visited the famous night market.
By the way, this is not for locals, this is for tourists.
Although it's mostly a tourist spot, the atmosphere was so charming, we had to check it out. They sell all kinds of international food here. Prices are slightly higher than local spots since it's for tourists, but we still enjoy a satisfying meal for less than $2.
Your dog? Your dog? No. He's waiting for your food.
아.
On the flip side, seeing local kids taking leftover food from tourists showed us another reality of life here. We also needed some essentials, so we visited a local supermarket. What we noticed was that while local food and groceries are cheap, manufactured goods are relatively expensive. This is because Laos doesn't have much local manufacturing and relies on imports from neighboring countries via land. Visiting the local supermarket is a great way to to learn about the cost of living in a country, and it helps us better understand what's reasonable when spending money elsewhere. Today is the day we visit the most famous spot in Luang Prabang, Guangxi Waterfall. After a hearty breakfast at a local restaurant, we rented a motorbike and hit the road. Isn't the scenery along the way just gorgeous? Laos nature might not be flash, but its untouched, simple beauty is really charming. Have you seen a cafe with a rice-field view? Riding through here felt like all my stress was detoxing. And here it is, the stunning Guangxi waterfall. Wow, look at the turquoise water. Isn't it beautiful? I've seen a lot of beaches with blue water, but finding this color in the mountains is rare. It reminds me of Plitvice in Croatia, where you can also see these natural tiered pools. We couldn't resist taking a dip in one of the pools. I wanted to fully experience the waterfall, so I stood right under it and let the water pour over me. It was super refreshing. On our way down from Guangxi, we ran into some local boys. They were cute, all wearing sunglasses, so I snapped a photo with them. On our way back, we stumbled upon a cafe with a view of the Mekong River. It's so peaceful here, with no music, just the sounds of cicadas, birds, and the calm river. This is a real healing, don't you think? It's so calm here. I can feel the breeze, sunshine. I also chatted with another traveler sitting next to us. She's from the UK and traveling Southeast Asia after raising her kids and retiring. She was also drawn to the calm charm of Luang Prabang.
Wow.
We were heading out for dinner after getting back to our hotel. This bridge actually has an interesting history. It was built during the French colonial era. By the way, one of the legacies of French rule in Laos is their developed pastry and bakery culture. We picked another cafe with a stunning view of the Mekong River. The blend of traditional wooden architecture and lush nature here makes it such a beautiful spot, doesn't it? As we sat at the cafe, we noticed some local kids playing in the river. Watching them have so much fun in the water made us think of kids back in Korea. It's because the lives of Korean kids are so different from these Lao children. Many of the kids I've seen during my travels in Laos are pure, carefree, and live in harmony with nature. But in Korea, kids are busy, studying from a very young age. After school, they usually go to after-school academies, continuing their studies, which can be quite exhausting. Of course, there are complex reasons behind why this happens in Korea, so we can't just criticize it outright. I'll dive deeper into this topic of education in Korea in another video. But what's clear is that Korean kids grow up under academic pressure and in a more competitive environment compared to kids here in Laos or in many other parts of the world. This also made me think of my niece, who is 7 years old and lives abroad. She's always having fun with her family and doesn't deal with academic pressure. Because of that, she's one of the brightest, happiest kids I've ever seen. Back when I was earning a high salary and working sleepless nights, I sometimes found myself envying how happy and carefree she was. Another reason we were able to live on an average of $30 a day in Laos is because of the cheap accommodation. This place we stayed at cost $30 per night, which is a bit more expensive compared to the $20 places we had stayed before. But for around $20 to $30, we could stay in really comfortable and nice places with breakfast included. And meals were about $2 for us too, and we could eat delicious, hearty food. So $30 a day was more than enough to get by in Laos. This place in particular had that unique Lao architectural style which Jean really loved. And at night, when the lights came on, it had a completely different charm from during the day. If I had to pick the top 2 must-see attractions in Luang Prabang, they would be Guangxi Waterfalls and this almsgiving ceremony. Every morning at dawn, monks line up to receive food offerings from both locals and tourists. I first visited Laos 10 years ago and was so impressed by this site that I had to come back with Jean this time. But I was surprised by how few monks showed up this time. Last time, there were hundreds of monks and it was such a grand sight. Later, I found out that due to the tourism downturn caused by the pandemic, many temples faced financial difficulties and a lot of monks stopped their training. I left with a bit of disappointment and headed to the nearby morning market. Wow, this lively local vibe. From vegetables and fruits to... Wait, they're even selling live chickens and turkeys here. There's also a place selling grilled meat, pastries, and fried foods that go perfectly with breakfast. The market was bustling and such a fun experience from early morning. When you travel, I highly recommend visiting local markets to really experience the daily lives of the people and try delicious street food. If you ever visit Korea, check out my previous video on Seoul's authentic local markets.
Wow.
The second traditional Lao dish I want to introduce is khao soi noodles.
Wow.
It comes with tons of fresh vegetables, so it's great for getting your vitamins.
I eat like a local guy.
The taste remind me of Korean doenjang stew with noodles, which felt quite familiar. And it only costs $1 for a hearty and tasty lunch.
Our van is here.
Oh.
Our van is here.
We are finally leaving Luang Prabang and heading to Vang Vieng. Laos. Oh yeah, we are at the Luang Prabang railway station. Can you show around? Station. This is massive, guys. Wow, the ceiling is so high. The architecture reminds me of the traditional style unique to Luang Prabang. And seeing it in person is quite impressive. So it's actually built by a joint venture between China and Laos. But 70% Chinese money and 30% Lao money. But even the 30% is a loan, government loan from Chinese government. So essentially, the entire railway was built by China. It's interesting to see everything written in Chinese, even though we're in Laos. The influence of China is really widespread in Southeast Asia, except for the Philippines, which has the US backing them militarily, so they are at odds with China. Anyway, the countryside scenery on the way to Vang Vieng is so beautiful that even the travel time felt relaxing. We have arrived in Vang Vieng. This is the place I was so eager to show Jean that I convinced her to come to Laos. Now you can see why I was so excited. As soon as we stepped out of the station, the stunning mountains greeted us, and Jean was instantly amazed. After checking into our Vang Vieng hotel, we found the fruit shop right next door.
와, 완전 이거 뭐야?
So we decided to try their mango juice. It cost only 15,000 kip or 60 cents in USD. So cheap, right? While waiting, I saw locals coming in to buy fruit, so I figured this place must be popular. I trust local choices more than Google reviews. How did it taste, you ask?
아주 맛있어. 완전 좋아. 와이프 안 했어. 완전 좋아하는 거. Guys, while you're in Laos, you should drink this mango shake every single day. It's that good.
We came to the Vang Vieng night market for dinner. But aren't the outdoor tables and chairs a bit too low? Seeing many people eating made us curious, so we decided to try it. It's a Chinese-style hot pot adapted to local Lao cuisine with spicy broth, meat, skewers, and veggies cooked shabu-shabu style. Jean struggled with the hygiene, but honestly, this was one of the best meals I had in Laos. Of course, we as tourists don't always stick to local restaurants. Sometimes we go to places with a nice atmosphere or great views. This is a famous hotel restaurant in Vang Vieng, and the mountains and river view are stunning, right? But honestly, the food wasn't so great, so I wouldn't recommend it to you. Now, do you see why we usually prefer going to local spots packed with locals? One of the most touching moments we had in Vang Vieng was at this restaurant. We were drawn in by the sight of smoked pork, but it was the young boy helping his mother that really moved us. He looked like a primary schooler folding a parasol bigger than himself to help out. So mature for his age, right? It reminded us of the kids selling fruit at the night market in Luang Prabang as well. These days in Korea, kids often demand things from their parents and show frustration when they don't get what they want. But here in Laos, kids are already contributing to their family's livelihood at such a young age. It made us feel both proud and a little sad for them because they're kids after all. We stumbled upon this cafe and were amazed by the view. Sitting on the outdoor terrace with the massive Vang Vieng Mountains spread out in front of us while sipping our drinks, it was just perfect. Take a moment to enjoy the view with us. For dinner, we tried another traditional Lao dish, Sindap, which is their version of shabu shabu. You grill meat on the top, and around the edge, you cook vegetables and noodles in the broth. The place was packed with locals, and that lively vibe really added to the excitement of the trip. Now, we are on our way to our new accommodation, but doesn't this bridge look dangerous? Even though it's the main bridge in Vang Vieng, it's in really bad shape, with parts of it broken, so you can see straight through the river below. Jin's heart was racing with every step, but the locals didn't seem fazed at all. After crossing the bridge, we came across these adorable local kids playing barefoot by the wall, dripping with sweat. It really reminded me of my own childhood. This is the peaceful view of Vang Vieng from our guest house. So calm, right?
와,
There is a herd of cows grazing right in front of our place.
Guys, this is the real Laos.
And locals are casually riding by on their motorbikes. This really feels like everyday life in Laos, doesn't it? Today, we're heading to Vang Vieng's most famous spot, the Blue Lagoon. To get there, we need to cross this bridge on our motorbike. I found myself feeling a bit more nervous than usual. The bridge is officially closed, but since there's no alternative, the locals still use it. I hope the local authorities build a safer one soon. Even though the weather is cloudy, the ride to the Blue Lagoon with nature all around us was so refreshing. Quiet country roads, lush greenery, and charming little houses. This simple scenery felt incredibly special to us after living in the hustle and bustle of Seoul. And here we are, the Blue Lagoon. Doesn't the water here look as beautiful as the Guangxi waterfalls in Luang Prabang? Vang Vieng is famous for activities like kayaking, tubing, and ziplining, and lots of people here were enjoying diving. We had planned to swim too, but it was so crowded compared to when I visited 10 years ago. It was too busy for us to relax, so we just took a look around and left this time. As we left the Blue Lagoon, we decided to explore without a set plan, just riding around wherever we felt like.
Wow. Wow, cow. Hi guys. Woo! This is Vang Vieng.
Every moment was pure joy.
Hello.
Taking shower?
천천히 가봐.
네. 네.
take a minute to enjoy the nature of Vang Vieng with us. Our last stop in Laos was the capital city, Vientiane. Before leaving Vientiane, we had to check out this famous night market by the river. The night view here is so beautiful. Street right by the Mekong River. As you can see, there are many food stalls behind us. And on the other side of this Mekong River is Thailand. It's pretty romantic, isn't it, Jin?
Yes.
They sell a variety of clothes. This market mostly sells clothes and accessories, but we were more interested in street food, so we decided to head to the food section.
Oh.
As soon as we arrived, we knew it was the right spot. Guys, this is it! So many unique food stalls and tons of people. Jin couldn't stop looking around. There was so much to take in. Most fruit markets have stalls that sell the same stuff, but here, every stall has something different, making it super fun to explore. There's just so much to eat here. We bought a few foods to try.
갑자기.
Many stalls accept QR payments, which make things a lot easier.
우와.
What a fire show!
갑자기.
Delicious. Tasty.
짠. 더 인출해야겠는데. 오. 우와.
Do you take one pay?
And just like that, our 3 weeks journey in Laos comes to an end. We learned so much from the simple everyday life here and experienced a new way of living. Unlike Korea, where $30 won't get you much, we were able to live comfortably here on that amount daily. It made us realize that true satisfaction doesn't come from money alone.
It was very pleasant conversation with the taxi driver.
But of course, there were some challenges we had to adjust to along the way. One of the biggest challenges we faced, especially for Jin, was the hygiene here. Jin is really particular about cleanliness, so the environment in Laos was quite challenging for her. For example, at one of our stays, we saw a cockroach bigger than anything we'd ever seen. Jin was pretty freaked out. And there was that time we bought fruit juice from the local market and something tasted off. When we looked closer, we found a bug in it. In the end, Jin and I both ended up with food poisoning, probably from an omelette we had that morning, and we both had a rough time dealing with it. And as I mentioned earlier, that bridge we crossed was really dangerous. Safety and health are the most important things when traveling, right? Noise was another big issue here. Some places played music loudly late into the night, making it hard to sleep. And big trucks with blaring music drove through the village. With no noise regulations, it was tough to deal with at times. But in the midst of these inconveniences, we began to discover new values. One of the biggest lessons Laos taught us was the beauty of slowing down. In Korea, speed and convenience are everything, but here, taking life slow is considered a virtue. For example, it took at least 20 minutes for food to arrive at restaurants here. At first, we were shocked. In Korea, food usually comes within 5 minutes, so we were frustrated at how slow everything was here. But after 3 weeks of living like this, we slowly got used to it. And once we realized that the locals cook over traditional fire pits instead of gas stoves, we started to appreciate the charm of these old-fashioned methods and understand the slower pace. As we adapted to various challenges and inconveniences, we also began to let go of the strict standards and preferences we had back in Korea. One evening, we were having dinner when an unexpected downpour trapped everyone in the restaurant. In Southeast Asia, it's common for heavy rain to come out of nowhere. We waited for a while, but the rain wouldn't stop. So we, like the locals, wrapped our bags and hats in plastic bags and made our way back to the hotel. Back home in Korea, we would normally use an umbrella during a downpour, but here, with no umbrella, we had no choice but to walk through the rain. Thunder was rumbling, lightning flashing, and we were soaked.
Oh no, guys!
But suddenly, I heard music and couldn't help but smile and dance to it. We were already soaked, so why not enjoy it? We just embraced the moment and went with the flow. Even Jin, who's a total city girl and struggled the most with these inconveniences, found herself slowly enjoying this simple way of life. It's like we found joy in the discomfort. Back in Korea, we used to spend over $300 a day for a comfortable life. But in the back of our minds, we were always thinking about how competitive and tough life was, wanting to escape the rat race and live a life where money wasn't everything. Laos showed us that it's possible to live on just $30 a day, and even with that, our satisfaction didn't decrease. What we realize here is that material wealth isn't as fulfilling as enjoying nature, slowing down, spending time with loved ones, and finding joy in the little things. It's these intangible things that bring real satisfaction. Sometimes it's important to step out of our busy lives and detox from everything, and Laos is a perfect place to do that. As we continue our travels, we hope to find more of these simple moments and learn from different ways of life. Thank you so much for watching this long video, and we hope to see you in the next one.